Hello friends, Sarah Sunstone here, and welcome back to Thinking Out Loud. Today, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the first ever developer blog from the team behind Witchbrook. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So here we have it, the first ever developer blog for Witchbrook, titled Spellbound by Simulation. And this dev blog in specific is going to dive into how the world of Witchbrook is actually structured. The team describes this as the ever-bubbling cauldron beneath the surface, quietly weaving its energy through every corner of Witchbrook. And of course, that is the world simulation. Now, this is a topic that is of particular interest to me, and it may also be for many of you, because based on what we've seen in the Witchbrook trailers, everything looks so full and populated. It looks so dynamic and detailed. But has that been created specifically for the trailer, or is that what we can actually expect in our gameplay? So let's explore this dev blog to maybe find out. The team shared that one of the core pillars in Witchbrook is a rich world simulation, and they've spent considerable time making sure the town of Mossport is a living, breathing, believable place, which I am so here for because I'm ready to get lost in this world and say goodbye to everything else when the game releases. They shared that the passing of seasons changes the city in many ways. Not only are different resources and jobs available at different times, but the city itself adapts. People dress differently, so perhaps some scarves and mittens in the winter or umbrellas in the rain. Schedules change. Different weather conditions are present, and the town gets redecorated to reflect the seasons. So I love how they're describing this really dynamic world. I think it's interesting to note that there will be different jobs available for us at different times of maybe the year, the seasons, time of day. And then I'm excited to see how the changes in the world reflect with the different NPCs and of course the landscapes. So here they shared an example of how this is going to look in terms of dynamic weather. So you can see when the NPCs, head outside, they pull out an umbrella to shield them from the rain. And this actually looks like it's outside of maybe a bakery of some sort. It looks like a really cute building that we can visit in the town. And so although this is just an example of the rain, I imagine there would be similar changes for snow. Folks would probably bundle up a bit more, and then maybe in the summer, people might be wearing sun hats, sunglasses. So yeah, we love to see dynamic weather. We love to see the people in the world actually responding to that, so it makes sense and you can become more immersed. Now, this is really interesting because the team has shared that those changes are not instantaneous. So for example, you'll see the town gradually filling up with flowers as spring progresses, culminating in the Tulip Festival in the third week of spring. So I think this is really neat because oftentimes in games, it'll go from being one season one day to a complete different season overnight. And, flowers have just instantly grown in. The trees are instantly a different color. Like everything is very instant. And so it's really interesting to see that they've taken this different approach of having gradual changes. So here's an example of this in terms of flowers growing and blooming. And you can see everything kind of starts out just as little sprouts. And then gradually over time, the flowers grow more and more until they're in full bloom, and there's even like cherry blossom petals in the air. And there's also the addition of like little birds, flying around, and this just looks beautiful. Like, who doesn't want to sit here, read a book, and just soak in the environment? So I really like this, and I don't know if I've seen something like this really executed in a life or farm sim game before. I again feel like it's always just a very immediate, instant changeover. So I'm really excited to see this for different seasons as well, and how that looks in the game. I think it's going to be really beautiful to experience. Now, along with the changing seasons, there's also going to be a smooth day-night cycle, transitioning the world of Witchbrook from morning to afternoon, evening, and night. Now, although we do come to expect this sort of a system in these sorts of games, the unique twist here is that the length of day actually changes depending on the season. So for those long summer days and then long winter nights specifically, I think this is just them going the extra mile to create, again, a more immersive world. And this attention to detail is very promising to me. The team did mention that we might have seen a tease of the view through the telescope in the Witchbrook Observatory, which is also affected by the same systems. And they're going to talk more about this in the next blog, so stay tuned, and of course make sure to subscribe to the channel with your notifications on so you don't miss out on all the latest for Witchbrook. Plus, if you appreciate being kept in the loop for all things Witchbrook, let me know by shining the lovely like button, which really helps to support the channel. And so this is showing a time lapse in the town of Mossport. It looks like this is just right outside that Dobro's shop, and we can really see how much movement is in this game. This really makes me feel like the world will be very living, breathing. It will be very full and populated. It doesn't seem like this was just for the trailer, that they made it, appear so full of life. There's tons of folks coming and going, just going about their days, their daily routines. And it's also really nice to see how that day-night cycle is going to look. And again, just how beautiful does this scenery look? Like all the flowers, all the greenery. And a little detail too is, yes, in this time lapse, it looks like things are shaking, but the movement of the trees, the flowers, the flag, like everything is like blowing in the wind and just so alive. So I love that. Now they do actually go a little bit more in depth on the residents of Mossport and the students at Witchbrook College. So there's going to be major characters like your coven members, professors, shopkeepers, and more, who you'll get to know as you study in Witchbrook, and some of them you'll even actually be able to date, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But apparently there's also going to be hundreds of unique and diverse citizens who are just going about their days. The developers claim that the world is persistent, meaning every citizen has their own look, their own name, and their own home. They're not just background characters, they're part of the world's fabric. So the characters are actually grouped together by archetypes, which will dictate how they dress and what activities they're interested in. If you pay attention as you wander around town, you'll be able to identify students, tourists, affluent residents, and more. You'll be able to meet them, assist them with their requests, or you can just follow them around town and see what they get up to. And you'll also get to encounter a wide variety of wildlife, anything from small critters and birds to larger animals as well. And we have seen a lot of that in the trailer too. It seems like there is lots of wildlife around the world, which I love to see. And so this footage is showing different, areas around town. We have the Calico clothing store. We have an area that almost looks like it could be a beachfront. And then this cute little shop, which says Memories of Mossport on the window. I've never seen that before in any of the footage that's been shared to date. I don't know what this shop could be, but they do have like a little beach ball and like beach chair. So maybe it's like a souvenir type of shop. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they've labeled and categorized the different citizens. If they're going to be walking around, looks like they're labeled as a pedestrian. It looks like it might show where they live or where they're originating from. So like 6th Street or Walnut Crescent. And some of them actually say ferry. So I wonder if these are perhaps tourists off of like a ferry boat. And some of them have like little articles of clothing in their text boxes too. So like this one's wearing a white cap. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be quite a wide variety of character designs, which is nice. It's not going to be like copy paste, copy paste. It was also nice to see like more of the town here. I cannot tell you how badly I want to jump in here and explore the world myself. Now, the team further shared that all of these characters' daily routines will allow them to get up to all sorts of activities around the city and will also change based on weather, season, or special events. They shared that all of this is fully simulated, so even if the characters are further away from the player, every single one of the hundreds of people who live in Mossport is still being tracked and updated. They're going to arrive at the same place at the same time, whether you followed them or not, without any magical behind-the-scenes teleporting or spawning of characters. So as you play this game, you know that all these characters are actually going about their daily routines. They're not just showing up when you do, as that sort of main character effect. So I really like this. Now, in addition to all the pedestrians, there is also a full traffic simulation in Mossport. So the cars drive on the roads while respecting British road rules. They will signal with their indicators and even wait for pedestrians to cross, helping to sell the feeling of being truly immersed in a big city. If you block the traffic, a small traffic jam might actually start developing, and the motorists will be sure to let you know of their displeasure by honking at you. So even the traffic is going to be responsive to your actions. There's also a regular bus service, which we've seen a couple of times in, past trailers, and it is confirmed that you can actually take the bus to get around the city while enjoying the view. So that's a really nice way to explore without having to actually control anything yourself. You can sit back, relax, and just take in the views. So that is what the team is sharing with regards to World Simulation, but they did actually recently reveal Witchbrook's first dateable character, who is your peppy coven mate Hannah. And we just recently were talking about Hannah in the last video and speculating on whether or not she would be dateable. And I feel like it was just a few days after that video was posted, they confirmed yes, she is dateable. So, she's got her signature pink ponytail. She looks really sweet. And they even gave us a little bit of a description, a little bit of information about Hannah. So they shared that Hannah is a great friend to have around with a sense of all the latest fashion trends from working at her part-time job at Calico. So confirmed that she does work at the clothing store, part-time at least. And she also has a positive attitude towards every situation, so she's an optimistic type. Very excitingly, the team is going to be gradually introducing us to more of Witchbrook's cast of dateable characters as they work towards the game's full release. And they know that we're all dying to know how dating will work in Witchbrook, but that's a topic for another day, which I feel like confirms that they're gonna, share that ahead of launch, maybe in another developer blog. And then finally, the team wrapped up with actually a little side-by-side comparison of where the game started and where it's at now. In case you didn't know, they actually did a whole refresh of their visuals. So they moved towards this isometric style, and they also are working on a new engine, which has allowed them to fulfill all of these ambitions, even with a tiny team of 20 developers. So, they know it's taken them a while to get here. They did reiterate that we're finally on the home stretch to release. So just in case you didn't know, Witchbrook is set to release in winter of 2025 on Steam, Nintendo Switch 2, and Xbox, with no word on PlayStation at this time. I feel like I learned so much in this developer blog, and I really appreciate that the team put this together for us. It was also really nice to see more of the world of Witchbrook. I still can't get over how rich and full of detail all the environments look, and again, I can't wait to actually get into the game and explore it for myself. Be sure to share your thoughts with me on this dev blog down in the comments. Let me know which of these, ambitious systems you're most excited by, curious about. Anything and everything. I always love hearing from you. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. And until next time, take care.